Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary O'Connor with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. On behalf of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, thank you to Alaska Public Media for sponsoring this program. We're glad you could join us. We are happy to have Katie Doherty back on the program to tell us about her job with an airline that's based in Anchorage. Welcome back, Katie.
Thank you.
On our last show, we talked about how you got involved in aviation and some of the flying that you'd done early in your career. And now we'd like to talk about your job as a flight operations training manager. So what type of training are you responsible for providing at your company?
Pilots, flight attendants, and dispatchers.
Okay. And about how many of those employees do you have?
We have about 100 and maybe 120.
Okay. And do you see, I guess speaking particularly about pilots, do you see pilots that typically need more work or that you wish that they knew more about something before they came with the company?
We do. We see local folks that fly the 135 side. They don't get much instrument time, and so I think probably instrument skills would be probably the biggest thing that we're kind of looking for.
And is that something that you look for before you hire them, or is there something that you can do to help boost up their skills after they come onto the company?
We do a simulator ride with them before we hire, and if it looks like we do that at the Medallion Safety Foundation, and we do encourage pilots to go if they don't do well to go and kind of get their skills back up to speed. We also have a lot of instructors. Our pilots, and so they can kind of get together on their own time and go over some of the instruments stuff with those pilots as well.
Okay, so that's some great advice. If a pilot is potentially looking at coming onto your company, then spending some time at Medallion on the simulators, flying on instruments would be a great help, probably for their interview and a check ride.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any advice on how to stay current? Because in addition to your duties as a training manager, you're also a captain of an airplane.
Yes.
And you keep up those skills, but how do you stay current?
I also, when I do the rides, when we're doing the evaluations, I actually fly the simulator at Medallion on my own, mostly just to make sure that everything's working properly, but it also helps out a little bit. And then I'm also required to keep my 90-day currency, so sometimes I get really close to that. I just last week had to fly because I was 4 days from not being landing current, so we have to keep an eye on that as well. And then we do our training in Miami in simulators, and so as captains we go and do that twice a year.
Okay.
Keep current. That doesn't help here, but
But it does help.
yeah.
At least keeps you familiar with the airplane.
Yeah.
Do you have any safety advice for general aviation pilots? I mean, you've given some great advice that might apply to general aviation pilots as well. Do you have anything specifically?
I think, when we go to the airport, you already kind of looked at the weather. You already kind of have your day planned out, pretty how it's going to look. But I think being prepared and having a plan is probably important.
And that makes great sense for private pilots because they don't have the support of a dispatcher and somebody in flight ops and flight following in a 121 operation like your pilots have.
Right.
So there's a lot more that's required in the planning and preparation for general aviation pilots.
Yeah.
Makes perfect
It's
sense.
on your own shoulders.
Do you have any advice that you would give to people who are looking at piloting as a career?
I think you're having a plan for how you're going to build your time, and there's lots of different ways out there. Alaska is rich with pilots, and so there's always someone to get advice from where a good career path would be. Yeah.
Is there any best experience in your background that helped prepare you for your current job?
That's a good question. I think it's just all as a whole. I think you can get in an airplane and you can do the same thing over and over and over again, or you can learn every single flight. and that's what I've chosen to do. And I think that's what good pilots do. Is you should walk away after every single hour with something that you've learned or something you would do differently next time.
That's great advice.
Yeah, I just keep learning and keep up with the industry. There's a lot of changes going on. It's a really exciting time right now, and just keep up with what's going on as well.
Okay. Well, thank you, Katie. We appreciate you being here with us. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy this program, I encourage you to become a member of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation. If you have any interest in becoming a pilot for a major airline, please take Katie's advice, and even if you're a general aviation pilot and that's all you want to do, please make every flight a learning flight. Fly safely.